And hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stuart Irvine and welcome to my solo review of AEW's and New Japan Pro Wrestling's joint show, Forbidden Door. Yes, obviously as you just by myself again, obviously Josh, we're finding time. This is a very transitional period at the moment for us, both going through certain job changes and all that kind of stuff, so finding time to do solo reviews together is finding difficult, but again, as I keep saying, when Josh comes back, it's going to be glorious and I cannot wait to talk wrestling with him again. But until then, obviously, he's still got to put up with this beautiful face here. And and what a show to talk about. I mean, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Forbidden Door. I mean, you would thought at some point it was cursed because a lot of injuries. Obviously, you had CM Punk got injured, got Bryan Danielson, the two major ones out of the top of my head. But yeah, there's a lot of injuries. I think Tanahashi, or the Time Bomb, if I got it right, he got injured, I think, so that made that match, I think, against the six-man tag with the Dudes of Attitude going against the Bullet Club, became a six-man and not a eight-man. So, yeah, interesting stuff there. But yeah, so there are a lot of injuries, so it's like, it's not the best show they can put up with. The summer of injuries, definitely, this is what it is. But yeah, I mean, me personally, going into it, I was really excited for, obviously, Will Ospreay versus Cassidy. I just thought these two could just pull out an amazing match. Because I've seen snippets and they seem to have this chemistry that you just knew it was going to be a great match. So you had that, obviously you had the Fatal 4-Way with Okada. I mean, the idea that we've got Okada in AEW, it's just mental to me. It's like, I love Okada, he's one of my favourite wrestlers. So you got Okada going against, was it Jay White, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, finished out against Okada, Adam Cole, and Adam Page. So they had that match. I mean, when I heard that, it's like, yep, I'm on board with this show. But it had obviously it had all kinds of cool matches. But they were the two odds we like, yeah, I'm excited for this. But yeah, before we dive straight into talking about each individual match, if you like what you hear and see, please like and subscribe. Obviously, we want a good number at the moment. 20. Last time I filmed recording this review, we're on 210 subscribers. Thank you so much for all those people that subscribed. Never thought while the streams will get to a point where we actually get a decent number. So obviously, if you do enjoy what we do, please like and subscribe, and please comment, because I would love to hear what you think of this review and what we do here at the Josh and Stu Wrestling Podcast. But yeah, so obviously the first match we're going to talk about is obviously that we start off with a six-man tag with the Jericho Appreciation Society taking on Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Miro Suzuki going against Yuta. We had obviously Eddie Kingston and a name I'm probably going to butcher, Shota Umino. If I pronounced that correctly, I probably haven't. But yes, obviously a lot of Japanese names. I'm rubbish with British names, so I apologise if I've butchered that. But yes, obviously he was interesting stuff there. So yeah, let's dive straight into talking about that first match of the show. So yeah, so as I said, we'll talk about the first match on the card. Obviously, just started off with a big six-man tag that had repercussions for Blood and Guts. That's basically their version of War Games, happening on Wednesday. So this match was to find out who would have the man advantage going into that match. Obviously, the Jericho Appreciation Society, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, newly joined Sammy Guevara, teaming with Miro Suzuki, WDI Suzuki. I mean, badass at all. It's amazing. Going against Umino. If I said I've butchered that name how many times, so I apologise to him personally. Butchered that name, but I didn't know much about him before this match, to be fair. Yuta and Eddie Kingston teaming up. Obviously, Yuta is part of the Blackpool Combat Club, and obviously Yuta was actually a little continuity here with New Japan Pro Wrestling is he was one of the Young Dragon, or the junior kind of wrestlers they have in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Young Lion, that's the one. Where I think it's back when, I don't know when, I think like last time he was in New Japan, he obviously he gave Rules Jericho to a certain wrestler, Young Dragon, and he was that one. And I like little continuity things like that. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So it makes sense why he's in the match. But yeah, I mean, what an open. I mean, the great thing about six-man tags is they're very open to kind of, you could just go this move, that kind of stuff, and definitely delivered on that. I mean, perfect example. The crowd was hot. I mean, I've never really hot for this match. I don't know. I've never seen it I mean, maybe it's because this is a show for the fans, because if you're watching AEW, you are casual, but you are kind of a hardcore fan. So you know mostly like outside the world of like WWE and AEW, you know like New Japan, you know Ring of Honor, you probably know some stuff from Progress, that kind of stuff. You know what's going on in the wrestling world. You're a bit more than just a casual WWE fan or AEW fan. The whole list to exist. So you can see this is aimed at us, but it worked because it ticked all the boxes in my book on a match that I just really fun. It's really enjoyable, very quick. I mean, so one thing I talk about the whole show, it just didn't feel long. Like 3.5 hour show, it felt really short. That tells you a lot about good pacing in this show. Very good. I never felt burnt out watching this show at all. But yeah. So obviously we had cool stuff at the end. Obviously crowd was hot. We had Yuta hitting so many German suplexes on people during the match. We had stuff like that. We had obviously Chris Jericho working on Eddie Kingston's arm later on as well. Obviously we had ring fan notice that Suzuki, basically the Jericho Appreciation Society have a lot to appreciate and have to probably thank Suzuki, because my god, he saved their ass so many times during this match. It was unbelievable how many times. But yeah, I mean, how many times he got involved, or we stop a count, or that kind of stuff. He was just so involved in this match. You'd think they wouldn't have won if it wasn't for him. But yeah, obviously we had like a nice shooting star press from Sammy Guevara and Yuta from the outside again. Sammy Guevara's amazing in the air, so it's no surprise there. We had a standing Spanish fly by Sammy Guevara and Yuta. Again, a match we need to see. I probably have seen it, but again, these two could go. So if I was going to do like again a best of 5 series, I love best of 5 series. So let's go for that. Them two, go, book it. But yeah, Yuta did a nice power slam off the top rope. I think it was, I said power slam. It was really cool. Udamo. If it's Udamo, oh god, I'm going to get it wrong. This is going to be a very, very hard. But yeah, gotta get that name. But yeah, he was a standout on this match as well. Udamo, he was brilliant. Like seriously, this is a star in the making in New Japan. I think he's quite young as well, so wouldn't it surprise me in a couple of years or maybe a year or two he'll be fighting out for that junior heavyweight championship, or like going up to the top tier kind of. It wouldn't surprise me in a couple of years he'll be in the G1, and usually G1's a good staple of how good you are. So, but he was amazing in this match. Really showcased how good this guy is. I thought it was over early on, later on in the match when he had. Suzuki hitting that gotch power slam, was it not? Was it a gotch? What was it? Power driver, and it looked like he just was going to win, but he just kicked out of it. It's just like, okay, we're going to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, after that, obviously he hit that power driver. Obviously, then we had then the 3 guys on the heel side were in the ring against. Yeah, we had 3 guys in the ring. Managed to punch Sammy and Suzuki out of the ring. Obviously, so that's Suzuki, yeah, Japanese wrestler. I'm gonna get his name wrong. It's gonna be bad. But yeah, he obviously he was fighting out. He was trying to take out all 3 of these guys, but it's too much for him. And obviously, Suzuki was out of the win, but then Jericho capitalized with these distractions to hit the Judas effect on I can't remember his name. Hit the Judas effect for the win. For pretty much 20 minute match. It was fun. It was good. I liked it. It opened the crowd up. Everyone was really up for it. It's perfect match to put on that makes people go, okay, I'm up for this match. And yeah, I butchered the name. I apologise. I got to apologise so much. I butchered that name so many times. Try my best for that one. But yeah, I mean, that Judas Fest spoil most protective finished in all of wrestling at the moment. So whoever kicks out of that is going to be huge. When who that is, wouldn't surprise me if it's Eddie Kingston when they have that match again. They're going to wait. Or they'll probably have it at Blood and Guts. Wouldn't surprise me. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, again, utilised the New Japan wrestlers in there quite nicely. Didn't feel out of place. They actually, in a way, look better because they probably have to. New Japan's style is slower in a way, so it's more paced and measured. But obviously in the AEW, it's more quick. So it was interesting to see like kind of the New Japan pro wrestlers kind of like being able to let off the leash a little bit with that kind of style and a bit more pacey. That kind of sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work for the wrestlers. But I think it worked here. But yeah, great opener. Got me hyped, and I was like, yeah, I'm liking this show already, and I like it. So it was a perfect choice for the opening match. So, but yeah, I mean, so that means Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society have the advantage going into that Blood and Gun match on Wednesday. I cannot wait to watch that. I have to admit, I haven't been watching AEW as much as I would like, just because of his circumstances are in the way. But I'm definitely going to go out of my way to watch that match on Wednesday. So it's going to be fun. So, yeah, so I guess that's the opening match. Let's talk about the big... Obviously, we're talking about big. Most matches are big in the show. But next, we're going to talk about the three-way tag team winner-take-all match with the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships and the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships on the line, with FTR defending their titles. They are defending their Ring of Honor World titles, going against the United Empire of the Great Khan and Jeff Cobb, defending their IWGP Tag Team titles, going against the kind of dark horses, Roppongi Vice, obviously Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. So they were the dark horses in this match. But yeah, I mean, a match, it was interesting. But yeah, let's go and dive straight into that big match there. The next match we talk about is, as you said, the winner-take-all IWGP and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships are on the line. It's kind of a big match to put on the show like this. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we wanted. Obviously, we got FTR, was it going against United Empire and Roppongi Vice. And a match that, I mean, I don't have no expectations for it because obviously I know FTR on the form of their life at the moment. I mean, they've got, the AAA Mega Tag Team Championships. Obviously, they are the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. And, yeah, and obviously the catcher, the gold of the IWGP Heavyweight Championships. To be fair, that style works perfectly for New Japan. So, we all kind of knew where this was going to go because... I mean, the United Empire, they've been booked, from her, they're booked well on New Japan. Obviously, United Empire was obviously Will Ospreay's kind of faction in there going against. I think they've got a kind of thing going against the Bullet Club at the moment, if I remember correctly from what I heard. But, yeah, I mean, Connie Vice, I think, Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta back. Awesome team. It's good to see them. So were the dark horse in this match, but there was no doubt going into it that everyone's favourite to go into it was FTR. Because it made sense. They've got the jackets. They had jackets at 6 stars, so they wanted a bit of 6 World Championships. It was all set up for it. And, I mean, you could have some surprises. I mean, at the start, I mean, the idea that obviously, I don't know if this was actually a part of the plan or was actually just an injury and they kind of played it in. Obviously, with Dax Harwood getting an arm injury early on in the match, so he had to be kind of courted out to the back. When that was happening, it was like, oh, so obviously... after that, obviously Cash was by himself for most of it, and he done an admirable job here. But it was basically after this, it was just basically United Empire based taking advantage of it, just beating the crap out of Cass Wheeler. Made sense because obviously you can't tag anyone, that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a good match after that, but then he came back. Obviously, with his taped up arm, that kind of stuff. But I was hoping they'd do that a bit later because it felt like, okay, if you're going to do that, you don't need any more near the end of the match. But it was back in like 5 or 10 minutes. So it makes me think that it wasn't planned. So they kind of had to wing it on the fly. But you done it well. It did feel a bit weird, but I get it, what they were trying to do. But yeah, obviously I took advantage. Obviously, that's game match. We had an amazing kind of double superplex by Trent Beretta and Dash Harwood. Yeah, so they had done a double suplex on the top, and then obviously... what was it? And then Kyle really had done a splash from the top that looked really for him going from the top, which is amazing. That kind of stuff. We obviously got Van Rice hit there. Was it tag team finisher for a near fall? So close. They look great in this match. Honestly, I like the idea of them being a team again. Really cool stuff. I wish I saw more of them in New Japan. Maybe they are being more New Japan. Would be nice seeing them back in New Japan. I need to watch more New Japan. I think that's what the show has reminded me, that I need to watch way more New Japan Pro Wrestling. But yeah, so obviously that stuff. But yeah, so the kind of match ended with the kind of thing. Obviously, Harwood tagged himself in with Rocky Romero. Then we get getting a blinder pin for a blinder pin for 2. Rocky got inside a cradle for 2 as well. Obviously, then Rocky with a kick to the injured arm of Dax, and then a spinning kick to the head, and then Rocky ran the ropes, and then it was set up when you saw Cash on the side. You know when he did that, obviously Harwood's lifted him up. Wheeler hit the knees, the big wig, double team move, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and they are now the new IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Oh my God, so they have won them all. There's only one title left. Is obviously the AEW Tag Team Championships that they're probably going to win at some point. But yeah, I mean, they're on a roll of their lives at the moment. FTR. I mean, there was a bit on the line with I heard rumors. Obviously, they might not be able to do it because obviously at the moment they are the AAA Tag Team Champions. But I think another Mexican promotion has a rivalry with AAA, if I remember. So that means that they don't like people association with AAA. There was a little bit of that, but I don't think the New Japan and obviously New Japan Pro Wrestling work with, I think, AAA and the other Mexican team. I need to know the name of that one. But yeah, so like they could have been, well, they don't want them because they got the AAA Tag Team Championship. But I don't think that was ever put into the factor of the match. It was amazing. It was an amazing match. I mean, again, it's never actually points to what's back. It's very fun. A lot of cool. It was basically triple threat tag team action brilliance. Everything you want from that kind of stuff. I mean, the question is that stuff with Hardwood, was that set up or was it not? We don't know, but it was a good match. I think it was inevitable they're going to win the big title. So the question is, obviously now they did announce the Ring of Honor going to have their first show, obviously under Tony Khan's tutelage. So it'd be interesting to see what stories are going to be in Ring of Honor with them as the tag team champions. So, and obviously, that means that there's a good chance that got FTR in New Japan. I think their style will work well there. Because obviously, it's kind of slow-paced kind of tag. And I don't watch much of their tag team stuff, sadly. But I think that style they have as tag team will work brilliant in New Japan. And I look forward to seeing what they do there. So, obviously, maybe in the G1's coming up, maybe you might see them more of the tag team stuff in between the G1 stuff. So, maybe. We don't know. But, interesting stuff. But, yeah, good title change. Made sense. FTR on the roll of their life at the moment, and I couldn't be happy for a team that's always wanted to be the best. At the moment, they're proving it. So, but yes, obviously next we're going to talk about title changes. This one's going to be the inaugural first champion of this newly formed title championship. Obviously who we're going to find out who was going to be the first ever AEW All Atlantic champion. Was it going to be Matt Pack? Was it going to be Miro? Is it going to be Clark Connors, or is it going to be Malakai Black? Obviously we'll find out next, but yeah, I mean, it was set up to, and it was an interesting match. It was kind of out of the field, but yeah, so who's going to be? So let's talk about this match, because it did have a lot of surprises in it. Surprised me more than I was expecting. So yeah, let's talk about that one. Yes, as I said, but let's talk about the four-way match for the inaugural the AEW All Atlantic Championship. Obviously, this was contained in kind of three kind of quarterfinals to semi-final matches, where they all contained with obviously three. So obviously you have three obviously from the AEW side, and obviously with one from the New Japan side. Obviously, one little mention, obviously Clark Connors was not, and originally I think it was Ishii was supposed to be in this match, but obviously again the injury bug strikes again, and obviously had to put someone to replace him. I'm assuming he beat Clark Connors in the match previous, so it makes sense to put him in the match, but no one in a million years thought he was going to win it. But it was just nice. We had to make it a four-way to make sense of the All Atlantic. You had to add someone New Japan to make sense of the whole match, because it would have been weird just three-way, and there was no New Japan Pro Wrestling people in it. But I mean, let's be honest here. Everyone was talking about this was a title designed, and we all kind of eyed him, knowing that it's basically Miro's. Everyone was expecting Miro to win it. And yeah, I mean, it made sense. Obviously, he's been out for a while. His TNT Championship run was pretty good. And it was set up the way that day. But, I mean, Pac was a good shout. Malakai Black could have been a good shout as well. So, there was some intrigue to see. It wasn't 100% banking on who was going to win here. That's kind of good. I mean, there's one. No offense, Clark Connors wasn't going to win it. Sounds horrible, but he wasn't. But I mean, it was an interesting match. It looked like for most of it, Miro was just great in this match. He looks amazing, by the way. And it's just he was in control of most of it. Every time you thought Sir Reeves is someone that's going to win, he just came in there, took advantage, used his strength, his power, that kind of stuff. He was in control for most of it. Yes, obviously we had a bit where Miro and Malakai Black weren't really getting along. That's not surprised because obviously they've got different views on the world from their characters anyway. But yeah, obviously they didn't get along, and obviously later on in the match we had a situation of obviously Malakai Black sat up a table on the corner on the barricade, and obviously the attempt was to try and get Miro through it. He kept resisting, and then Connors came up with a spear from Miro, boom, through the table. He was out for a little bit of the match. We had a nice Tower of Doom spot, I think by Miro, taking them all out. And then obviously near the end of the match, obviously, yeah, it kind of set up in the situation of, near the end of the match, it was kind of set up, yes, he's going to win. He obviously set up for, he done the whole thing he does in the corner. He hit his running super kick on Pac. Then he stomped the spine. And then he went for the game over submission. Pac was fighting, but you were expecting him to tap out or pass out. And I thought, okay, that's where the match is going to end. He wins it that way. Miro wins. But didn't go according to plan. Because obviously after that, obviously while he was doing it, obviously he locked it in and it got to the ropes and locked it back in again. Then obviously, Malakai Black came to win. The Black Mist came into play here and smashed it in Miro's face. And he was, after that, I was like, oh God. And then obviously, that made him go to the outside, obviously with the Black Mist. Then obviously it was Blacks and Connors at this point fighting over for an armbar. So then Pac went to the top, hit a 450 splash on Black, and then Pac applied the Brutalizer submission on Connors to get the win. And yeah, and Pac is your first ever All-Atlantic champion. And I am not against it. If anyone needs a bigger push at the moment, it is Pac. I mean, he's been hit and miss for a while now, and he's had good. This will make him the best Pac we knew is when he was. I knew anyway was when he was still in WWE, and it was Neville, and he was the Cruiserweight champion, and he made that title mean something. Single-handedly made that title mean something. So God forbid, guess what he's going to be doing with that title? He's a great choice. I think Miro would have been a great choice. Malakai Black would have been a great choice. Probably going to have Malakai Black and Miro maybe going for a feud, or it's going to be a situation of this match. This is going to turn into a triple threat kind of feud, because obviously Pac and Malakai Black have still got issues. I think they're still fighting over that situation with the House of Black and obviously his group as well. So it sets up quite nicely. But yeah, I'm not against. This is one of those things where it's just like, I totally get it. So yeah, makes sense. So I'm intrigued to see what the feud is. I mean, the idea that this could be like they're going to turn this into their version of the Intercontinental title. I like it because again, if you've got Miro versus Malakai Black versus Pac, I mean, you can put something like Sam Guevara in there as well. You've got a division now that feels like an Intercontinental division, like people that are just at this level. You know, they're close enough to the main event scene, but they're just below it. I need a bit of a push, and this is what that title should be. And I hope they book it well, because the TNT Championship's been hit and miss. I hope this feels a bit more special. I hope Pac has that title for a while. So it'll be interesting to see what they do on Blood and Guts show on Wednesday. See if that brings up anything. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, 15-minute match, fun. Surprise Pac won, but what's the old saying? Surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. And that's what Pac winning it feels to me. So yes, obviously that's great. Let's find out what they do with that. But yes, obviously next we're going to talk about another 6-man tag team match. Obviously with dudes with attitude, or I think obviously it's supposed to be an 8-man tag, but turned into a 6-man tag due to another injury. But yes, obviously Darby Allin, Shinso Chikari, I think I've just completely put his name, and Sting teaming up to go against the Young Bucks with Matt and Nick Jackson and El Fantasio. I think that's how you pronounce it. So awesome stuff there. So let's talk about that match. So yes, let's talk about that 6-man tag team match with Darby Allin teaming with Sting and Takagi, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, going against the Young Bucks with Matt and Nick Jackson, El Fantasio, a former junior heavyweight champion. I'm thinking 2000 WF. Don't need to think about that now. But yeah, I mean, again, this is an interesting one. Obviously, this is kind of set up. I don't know much about the story here, but I think it makes sense. I think it kind of ties into the whole thing with injury with Sting. I think the Young Bucks went after that. Obviously, the whole thing with the Young Bucks are now with Red Dragon, but they obviously, I think, injuries there have kind of messed up that story for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, obviously, stay involved in that with the attack on Sting. Darby Allin's being cool. And obviously, I don't know why Shingo Takagi is not in it. Like, why is he in it? But mate, seriously, he's one of those wrestlers so good. Takagi, so good. But yeah, I mean, obviously, an interesting start. Obviously, we had a thing where Sting music came out and we didn't know where he was. Obviously, then quickly Young Bucks, and obviously they did a cut to where the crow's nest, if you want to say. And kind of like, where's Sting? And then all of a sudden he turns around and he seems to have his few. He likes jumping off things now. He's been around Darby Allin way too much. So yeah, so he likes jumping off things. Obviously, he jumped on top of the entrances on the Bullet Club, if you would say. So that was really cool. It was like my notes here. I've put, where's Sting? Oh wait, he's flying up at the top of the stage. So that was really cool. We had over the top. We had an over the top back scratcher type thing. It was kind of this new thing where it's basically like they do flips, you do flips and all kind of stuff. All spectacular to just do a back scratch. I mean, it's kind of the arrogance of the Young Bucks and of the Bullet Club kind of works for them. But yeah, so obviously had cool stuff there. Takagi looked absolutely amazing. Again, for what I was saying about the style, very slow-paced style in New Japan. It feels like they allowed him, in this match, they allowed him to be up his game a little bit. And my God, some of those shots he was doing was so good. But, I mean, he looked great in this one. Obviously, we had that thing near the end, obviously a super kick party on Sting, but no effect. We're talking about the Stinger. You need something a bit more than some super kicks. Yeah, the match kind of ended. It had some cool stuff, but kind of ended quite cool. Obviously, Sting kicking out from Fantasio's... was it a kick to the groin when the ref was distracted, and Darby Allin hit, and obviously after that hit, and then obviously the match ended with Darby Allin hitting a coffin drop on. You have a member of the Bullet Club that my name escapes me on the outside. Take him out. Takagi hit forearms on Fantasio, and then hit a running lariat that looked absolutely beautiful. I hit that running lariat for very near too, and then he picks him up. Great sell by Fantasia with a flip bump, kind of like, oh my God, this is like really hurt. And then obviously I think he was gonna go for one of his other moves, but he transitioned it into the Last of the Dragon finisher, and gets the win. 13 minute match, really fun. I do think from 6 mans the opening was better. The opening contest was better, but yeah, it was fun. Darby Allin looked great. Sting was doing his thing. Seemed to be that I don't think they've took a foot wrong with him since he's joined. They put him in tag team matches and they do limited stuff when he's in the ring, and he just looks good. He doesn't. You would think this guy's in his 60s now, or like 60, like he's getting on in wrestling years, and the guy can still do stuff like that. I mean, they're really protected him, and he looks great in it. So yes, that was cool. Fantasia, I love that. He's a great wrestler. I mean, ever since I saw him. I think an opening match at a Wrestle Kingdom a couple years ago made me a fan instantly. Very good. I think it was the match when was it Tanahashi? I think I can't think. Yeah, I think it was like that match where like he has to go against El Fantasio for that junior heavyweight, and if he wins that, he goes to the second night where he has to defend it against somebody else. I think that was it. I like that. I think that was the match, but yeah. Cool stuff here. So fun match. Everyone looked great in it. I don't think there was any more major story. It was just a great match to put across. It was a bit of fun, and that's what you want from this match. And no harm, no foul, as they say. So I loved it. So yeah, good match here as well. Very good. If I was going to put it though, it would be out of one of the matches. Would be low on the list of, like, if you're going to put a list of best to top matches for the whole thing. But that's just me. But good match here. So let's talk about another good match in the probably the only kind of AEW versus AEW kind of thing in this whole show was obviously AEW Women's World Championship match with Thunder Rosa defending her title against Toni Storm. That had potential to be a really good match, but I was really hoping they would put some New Japan Pro Wrestling spin on it. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about the AEW Women's World Championship match where Thunder Rosa going against Toni Storm. Again, Toni Storm's great. Thunder Rosa is technically one of the best wrestlers they've got. It's not technically she is, but this is a weird one. This one, because obviously technically it was a very good, slow, technical match, and I'm not going to say it felt out of place here, but it felt off. Something felt off about it. I don't know what it was. It might be because there's no really big story towards it, and there's not really anything. So there's nothing really crazy going on here. I think it was classified as something. It was a very good, excellent kind of solid match. But when you've got a show that's most of the matches are probably upper than they normally would be because of the nature of the show. It did stand out for me a little bit. But I mean, both of the wrestlers, I they only gave them like 10 minutes, and it did. It was one of those matches that it felt like it was just about to get going, and then boom, it ended. And I'm like, oh, so it was a little bit disappointing because I thought if you give these maybe a couple more minutes, it felt like it was like a couple more minutes, like 5 or 10. I think it would have been it would have been up there. It just never let it get going, if you know what I mean. But I mean, it had some cool stuff. He also had a cool German suplex by Thunder Rosa on Thunder Rosa by Toni Storm on the apron. That looked pretty gnarly, pretty awesome. We had the Toni Storm hip attack should be banned because they look intense. Oh my god, what the hell? We had a situation where Thunder Rosa trying to hit a finisher, but Toni Storm was able to hit her finisher, but kicked out. So you thought, okay, maybe that's where this match is going to go. But kind of the match ended with obviously Rosa going in to do a double knees onto the face, followed by a Death Valley driver. Then she hit, as you said, the Fire Thunder driver for just a 2. This was obviously Rosa's finisher, but then Storm kicked out. Rosa was shocked by this, obviously, as you said. Then Rosa kicked Storm. Went for a kick. Storm blocked a kick, and then Storm hit a German suplex. Rosa then she was with arm wrench, and then Rosa took Toni Storm down and hit a final reckoning. That's obviously they did put it up the Dusty Rose kind of connection, and it just suddenly just ended, and I'm like, oh, it just felt sudden, just felt sudden. So she, successfully defended her title. The weird thing about Women's Division at the moment is it feels like there's no momentum at the moment because there's not really good much. I don't watch EW as much as I want. This might be from a blinkered view, but yeah, just again, you got someone like Thunder Rosa that's just outstanding in the ring. She's amazing in the ring. All she needs is just a good story or something to really, other than just it's a great match. She's a great technical wrestling. Just throwing opponents after opponents at her. She needs a match. She needs a kind of Britt Baker kind of feud. I think Toni Storm could be that. I thought Selena Deep would be a good feud for her because that could have been a good technical war. We've only done that once that I'm a bit disappointed for. I think if they want to put her, I think what they need to do is they need to basically utilize her strength. She's great at wrestling, so why don't we do feuds that are more intense on the idea that people want to out wrestle her and they want to beat her, that kind of stuff. And I mean, NXT, if you're going to use an example, use NXT probably a couple of years ago. Obviously, maybe not now, but a couple of years ago was one of the best women's because it's they put great matches on. The storylines were not complicated, but they were just really engaging. And I don't know why they just don't do that. Maybe they should. If I was them, I would take bits from that, especially as they're kind of taking people from that era. Kai's band is out of wrestling at the moment, so if I get her, I mean, she was pinnacle for that kind of era. So I would sign her up in a heartbeat. So I don't know, but again, it's just the women's division. It's always been a hot topic since the inception of AEW, and it's been 3-4 years now, and it's getting there. But again, it's I gave it time, but it needs something. It needs something to energize it, or something that makes me go, oh, damn, that's good. So this was a very excellent match. I'm not downplaying it, but I just feel I didn't have enough time. So I want it for a 3 to 4 hour show. It didn't feel like I had enough time. It's crazy. I think this is a feud that it could build. I think that's what it needs. It needs a constant build of just a couple of series of matches. It's why that Extreme Deep feud worked so well, because it felt like it was a long-term story, like a lower guy that built up from something small and worked his way up. So that was good. So I want to do more of that. I just don't like the idea of just I don't want to do it with Adam Page where he just truck opponents and he keeps beating them. It needs to have a decent story. And I don't think the women's has that. They don't have enough time. They need to give the women a bit more time to build something that would be stand out. So, but yeah, I mean, good match, but I was a bit overwhelmed, a little bit disappointed with the sudden finish. So, hopefully they do. I need to find that spark, and I hope it comes soon. It probably will, because obviously Thunderbolt is amazing. They need to do something, or title change, just mean, oh my god, or maybe that might work, I don't know. But yeah, so, just overwhelmed with the match, but that's fine. But yes, obviously after that we talk about obviously one title match to another title match. Obviously IWGP United States Championship is on the line with Will Ospreay, newly won title I should point out, going against Orange Cassidy. And this I cannot wait to talk about, because as you probably guessed, it is my favourite match by far on the show. So let's talk about it. Yes, the next match we're going to talk about is the IWGP United States Championship match between Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy. And as I said, was so excited for this match. I saw a little clip of it in their tag team match, I think on Dynamite, or was it Rampage? And I saw snippets of the kind of chemistry these guys have got. And I was just like, yep, I knew this was going to be great. And it did not disappoint here. I mean, one thing we should point out that I didn't know is obviously Juice Robinson. I thought he was retired. I mean, he was. I mean, no one got around, but I guess he played us. And yes, obviously he was the IWGP. He didn't turn up for some medical reasons. Obviously, I think that was kayfabe. And obviously, in a triple threat, I think it was triple threat or like a match, Will Ospreay won the United States Championship. That again makes perfect sense to United Empire. Makes sense, and I love Will Ospreay as a wrestler. Maybe not as a person, but as a wrestler. So, but yeah, so we had that in mind. Obviously, they're watching on the balcony, watching the match. But I mean, what can I talk about this match? It was so good. The pacing was brilliant. I mean, I said loving the pace of this match. It was just very. I mean, how long was this match? How did they put it for? 16, 17 minutes, and it's just. The pacing was amazing. I loved it. Like, it just shows how good these guys are, and they can connect so well. I think also this match reminded us of how good Orange Cassidy is, because it has been a bit hit and miss for a while. They haven't done much of him, but then all of a sudden he's just like, you watch a match like this and you go, oh right, Orange Cassidy is amazing. So I think this match, I love a feud that keeps going. The idea of seeing him in New Japan would be interesting. Maybe he might freshen up his character, maybe, if they allow it. If that's still a feud you want to do. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we had a thing early on. Orange Cassidy, was it? Yes. By Will Ospreay, I mean, hit a really amazing backbreaker. I think she looked amazing, I think, early on in the match. Obviously, Will Ospreay was controlling most of it. We had, a bit near the end, it was kind of cool, where he had like a basic counters after counters series of kind of moves that set up with obviously a Slumdog Millionaire. I think it was like, was it with Slumdog Millionaire being countered by a driver or something like, and a driver type thing. I'm not describing it well, but basically it was just a great series of moves. It was amazing. I loved it. We had another standing Spanish fly. Seems to be a thing, but you know, it's really cool to see. Then we had a more great series of moves, counters into what was it? The beach break by Orange Cassidy for near fall. Then we had a thing where Orange Cassidy was Will Ospreay countered an orange punch by Orange Cassidy and hit that amazing cutter from the top. Basically, it's similar to Cody's cut, or maybe Cody copied it from him. Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff near the end of the match. We're basically going to talk about. We had a lot of nearly close 3 counts. Fans were loving it at this point. We obviously had charged. Obviously, Will hit the cutter and then jumped off top rope and hit a off cutter for a near fall. Great near fall that was. Then obviously we had Will went for the Stormbreaker, but was countered into a sunset flip powerbomb for 2. Then Will hit a running forearm, hitting Blaine. You know, the bit when he's like, it's a move basically if you're on your knees and he basically hits an elbow on the back. It's a match that actually made, was it Kota Ibushi, I think, was out for like concussion, because that move can be very devastating. So he had that one. So he actually went for that. On the back too for nearly great in here fall. Then Will did hit the Stormbreaker for the win basically, and yeah, great ending to the match. Wow, I mean, it was just it's really good stuff here. I loved it. So yeah, so that was really what to match. I mean, I'm downplaying how amazing this match was, by the way. All I'm saying is a lot of matches during this show you should check out, but this one is definitely one up there. Will it be one match of the year? I don't know yet. I mean, it's just going to be on the top 20 anyway, or mine anyway. So, but I mean, what a fast-paced match. Both got chemistry. A lot of cool counters after counters. that fast-paced stuff near the end was just like, you didn't know where it was going to go. It could have gone either way, but obviously I like the idea that it hits a Stormbreaker for the win. But obviously the stuff afterwards, you had the match with obviously was it Ospreay and his kind of goons kind of beating up Cassidy, and then obviously Trent and Rocky Miro come out trying to save, but they were beat down. And then this one, I don't know, Shibata, yeah, this is one of these weird ones because I don't know much about him. In a sense, he's huge in New Japan. Obviously, the fans definitely dig, 'cause it made a big deal. Obviously, I think he did return for a match against Zack Sabre Jr., if I remember, at Wrestle Kingdom. That was like a big pop there. So like, he was out for ages. Now it looks like he's back. So maybe there's a feud between Ospreay and Shibata that I'm really up for. But yeah, he came back, huge pop by the fans. Obviously, Shibata like knocked out Will Ospreay and then hit a corner drop kick on him. Then Shibata was going for a chokehold, but obviously got out of it. And obviously his goons kind of got him out of the ring. After there was left, Shibata had a stare down with Orange Cassidy. And obviously Cassidy gave him his shades. And obviously, yeah, and there's a huge pop there. So, yeah, cool stuff here. I mean, Shibata, I wish I knew more. That's the beauty of it. It's like, oh, who is this guy? Obviously, the fans knew him because I think I said the diehards, so it made sense. But yeah, great segment. Love this match. I am a huge fan of Orange Cassidy now. I need to remind myself how good he is. And yeah, I mean, I don't know where to go with this. It's an interesting one because obviously it looks like maybe Shibata and maybe Will Ospreay are going to have a feud. Obviously, there's a do for fuff with the Bullet Club. With obviously, we point out that obviously Juice Robinson's doing the whole he didn't give the title belt situation, so he's walking around when the title is not his. So there's going to be, so it sets up a couple of feuds that's interesting in New Japan, but obviously maybe set up an AEW. It's what the Forbidden Door's point. It's like it sets up some interesting stuff, and I love it. So it's still my match of the night, but there was a lot of close contenders. But this, I mean, I'll put it now. This is my match of the night. So, but yeah, enough that's all about. I could talk about this all day. And yeah, great. I always say check this match out. It's really good, really good. So obviously next match we'll talk about is the big one in a kind of like another big story talking point. It's obviously Zack Sabre Jr. going against a mystery opponent chosen by Bryan Danielson. We kind of had clues. There's only 2 or 3 obvious choices, but obviously the one that everyone was expecting did happen. So, but yeah, let's talk about that one because yeah, it was a very big moment. So yeah, let's talk about it. So yes, the next match, obviously one of the big surprises, obviously, and maybe match casualty of the summer of injuries, is obviously we're supposed to have a match between Zack Sabre Jr. going against Bryan Danielson in a technical masterclass. That probably would have been my match of the night. It would have been, because I love technical masterclass matches. Ever since I watched, I've heard of Zack Sabre Jr., but ever since I watched the G1 last year and how amazing he was in that, I became a fan, huge fan of Zack Sabre Jr. But the question is obviously going into this match was what was going on? Who was going to be the opponent? And to surprise to no one, it was Claudio Castagnoli, formerly known as Cesaro, making his AEW debut. Let's not be around the bush here. We all know. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Obviously now he's a new member of the Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, it's perfect fit. Obviously, people can go about, oh look, except for Yuta, full former WWE guys. Like, who cares if it's good? I don't care. The same wrestling. It doesn't always have to be tribal. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the crowd will pop for it. I mean, you start to see the heights difference between Zack, who's quite small, and obviously Claudio is very huge. Big guy, as I have to admit. I keep forgetting sometimes. But yeah, so obviously quick start to start. Obviously, we had Claudio hitting that running 4-1 he does, that he's known well for, and then obviously hits the neutralizer for it. I actually thought, oh my god, you're going to do like a short squash match? They're going to do that? And I thought, well, it makes sense, but then he kicked out quite easily. But it just shows, like, didn't know him. Not prepared for him, quick start, that kind of stuff he had. So then Cass Jones is on fire at this point. Then Zack Sabre Jr. kind of under control, doing what he does, the spider-like kind of submission stuff he does, working on that arm that he worked on later on, obviously, of Claudio. Then obviously they kind of left, was it the other thing later on, they were left in the ring with Zack Sabre Jr. still holding on, yeah, so we had a situation, I think, where he had submission and he was holding onto his arm, and he couldn't get it off. So it's like they rolled outside to the ring, and it had a great moment. Just reminds me of why Cesaro, formerly known as Cesaro, was like known for his ridiculous amount of strength. Is he's sitting there, well, still had him on his arm, and he's holding him up, but he's walking up the steps with Zack Sabre Jr. on his arm. And obviously then obviously when he gets back in the ring, slams him in the ring. Obviously, Claudio wants to do the swing. Obviously, we got a swing, but we didn't get it. We got it later on. But BS obviously went for a swing, but then obviously Zack Sabre Jr. countered into that guillotine choke that he's known for. Then we got a swing. I don't know how many. I think he done 12 if I counted. So we did get a swing out of that. Obviously we got a situation with Zack Sabre Jr. kind of later on grounded Claudio with the heel hook submission onto the mat. But obviously he was able to counter into an actually decently executed sharpshooter. That's how it should be executed, not the rubbish ones, the best ones. So that was a good one, obviously, but he was able to counter out quickly. But but the match kind of ended with, obviously, Claudio hitting an elevated uppercut that he's known for. Then he hit a discus lariat, like he's buddy Brody Lee. And then he hit him up, and then Claudio hit with a powerbomb for the win. So, yeah, cool stuff here. Great debut. Zack Sabre Jr. is amazing. Claudio Castagnoli, or formerly known as Cesaro, very good, very good. I don't know what more to really say about this match, really. It's a perfect debut. Looked great, protected him. Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, he's lost us damage him. He's Zack Sabre Bloody Jr. It's just amazing, and 80-minute match is so good. This show is so good. Like, it's like I can't find a bad. Like, we've got like disappointing, good to like, but most of them are great matches. So good, and this is a perfect example of that. Oh my god, I loved it so much. It was so good. And obviously this is probably a close second for a match at night, but still on the Will Ospreay Orange Cassidy match. But good stuff here. And I mean, obviously he's going to be involved with the Blackpool Combat Club in that Blood and Guts match against the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society, so that'd be good. So makes sense. And obviously the interesting thing, obviously we talk about later at the end of the show, with Eddie Kingston, they don't like each other. I'm interested. I have to look into that, what that story is, because obviously wouldn't surprise it's PWG or something back in the day. So so interesting stuff there, but really perfect debut. It's what, great match, shows what he can do, shows people that don't know who he is what he can do, and and against a very, very good Zack Sabre Jr. We will at some point get that Bryan Danielson Zack Sabre Jr. match, and it will be glorious, and it probably will be the best match ever. So I can't wait for that one. But obviously we don't know how long Bryan Danielson's out for, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But cool stuff. So now we're into the final two. Now we've really got through a lot of this stuff. So obviously we're near to the, you could say, the main event, or the double main event, or the second my main event. Obviously, it's the big four-way match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, with Jay White defending his title against Kazuchika Okada, Adam Cole, and Hangman Adam Page. Ooh, when I saw this match, I knew this show would be good. I just knew. This match made me go, this is what I wanted. But let's talk about this match, because it had a lot of cool stuff happening, and some things you didn't expect, but let's talk about it. So obviously now let's talk about the Fat Four-Way match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Jay White, champion, just won it from Dominion a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, going against the person he beat, Kazuchika Okada, going against Adam Cole and Adam Page. Yes. All I said is yes. I just knew this match would be so good. I mean, it had potential to be so good. Obviously, we won't talk about the stuff happening in the end, but I would just say, this was excited. Like, I wasn't really up for the show. Then I saw this match, like, this is what the Forbidden Door pay-per-view should be. An IW World Championship being defending on an AEW show, with two New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers, two AEW wrestlers fighting out. It was amazing, and it was. I mean, one thing I just really made me show is I absolutely love Kazuchika Okada. I don't think I've ever seen a bad match from him. Like, I've watched a couple of New Japans, I watched these battles with Kenny Omega a couple of years ago, but he's just so good. The guy is untouchable. quality-wise. The guy is so good at what he does. And it's just a huge pop. And the idea that Okada is an AEW ring, it's what we've been waiting for so long. Ever since this New Japan Forbidden Door thing was opened, kind of wanted this, and we did get it. But the huge pop he got was, kind of raw. I haven't heard these kind of stuff for a very long time for Western fans. You can only get that kind of crowd reaction in AEW. I just can't see it from any other sport like at the moment. But it's amazing. But Okada was in there, huge pop. Obviously, early on in the match, you had Jay White and Adam Cole working together. Obviously, the Bullet Club connection makes sense. The big kind of spot we had later on, obviously we had Adam Cole, Adam Page looked great in this match as well. Very good here. But obviously we had a bit early on where we went to the top, trying to hit these famous moonsault into the ring. But obviously we got the cliche, or the thing that we know Adam Cole, we just knows. He finds a way to hit super kicks in midair. That's what he does. And he did hit a super kick midair, and right on the money as well. Ooh, it's similar. It's up there with that one he did against Ricochet all those years ago in the NXT. It was amazing. So, awesome stuff there. Obviously we got Okada jumping off the barricade on Adam Cole and Jay White. Obviously, they were trapped onto the outside of the barricade bit. He jumped over it for a springboard. What was it? Oh, I can't remember now. But basically, you jumped over to hit so we just done jumped on the barricade, landed on both of them. It was just awesome. To see that. New Japan. Obviously, then we had a situation where obviously the question was Adam Cole and Jay White gonna turn each other? Who done it? And the perfect move to do it, I just think love the subtleties of it, is that he hit a backstabber. Like, who's gonna backstab who? And here's a backstabber. It's beautiful. Love it. So he hit that. Obviously, hit a backstabber on Jay White. Obviously, then. Another thing I should point out is this match really set up a match we want to see now. I want to see Okada versus that Hangman Adam Page in a match. Maybe that's setting up for next year, but oh god, I would love a match like that. It'd be so good, so good. But yes, obviously we had that obviously set up there. But again, we obviously had basically this is we're going to the kind of nitty gritties in the match. We had obviously White hit a sleeper suplex on Cole, and then Okada as well. Then White went for a sleeper suplex on Page, and he basically went sleeper. The sleeper suplexes? Really cool stuff. Then obviously Cole knocked down. We had a good segment where Cole knocked down White. Okada drop kicked Cole, and then Page hit a discus lariat on Okada. All four men were down the ring. It's gold, and the rest is saying this is awesome. It was really good at this point. And obviously, then we got Cole held on to Page, who was trying to go for the buckshot lariat, but then Page went up top and hit a moonsault on Cole and Okada on the floor. Then Gato grabbed Hangman and Adam Page, and obviously he got taken out. And the ref. I think why is the ref not seeing this? And I think from his views, and a lot of people forget. Even I sometimes forget. It's a fair four-way. No GQ. Gato can get involved. So Jim was. And obviously we got then a Page exchanging moves with White. Then Ben hits the Deadeye, followed by a buckshot lariat for a 2. Okada broke up the pin. Amazing sequence of matches, but. The kind of match ended with obviously we had Okada hit the body slam. Okada jumped off the top with an elbow smash, looked amazing. Page went, and then obviously went Page in the ring. And then Cole hit a super kick on Page and Okada, and then Cole with a super kick on Okada for a 2. Then obviously Cole ran into the ropes, leading to Okada with an impressive drop kick, and then Cole avoided a clothesline, and then kicked him in the head with another kick. And then another kick to the head, and then Cole hit a super kick on Page off the apron. And Okada with a drop kick, and then we had Okada hit a sit down powerbomb on Cole. Jay White was back into the ring with hit the blade one on Okada, and then White covered Cole for the win. This was a weird one, strange one. This is from what I've heard. I haven't looked into it. It seems like it was a sudden finish. It's like. The way it was set up, it seems like he was going to hit his finisher, the Blade Runner, on Okada and then pin him, and then that gets the win. Makes sense. But then I think hit him, he went out the wing, and then he just pinned Page, And yeah, it was a weird one. I don't know what to explain about it. There are rumours that I think he done his shoulder in, or like he was actually legit injured. So they ended the match quite abruptly. So did it end the match a little bit in my way? It did a little bit, but it looked like it was legit injury. I'd have to look into it online if it actually was, or was it kayfabe, that kind of stuff. Sitting there, but I mean, it makes sense in a way. Like Jay White saw he was injured, pinned him to get the win, and then he got the hell out of there. Makes me think that there might be something more to it, but we don't know what's going on here. So, but yeah, so good stuff here. I think the match, the kind of ending, kind of not ruined it, but made it anticlimactic. It ended so sudden. The ending didn't work, but. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it was exactly what my expectations were for the match. I just think that finish kind of taunted a little bit. But what can you do when someone's got maybe a legit injury? You just end it there, and that's it. But yeah, cool stuff here. I don't know what more to say really. So I don't know. I mean, it had potential. I think if the finish was a bit more as you expect a finish to be, I'll be happy. But again, when the guy's injured, the guy's injured. So hopefully Adam Cole is okay. But yeah, again, possibly another list on that long list of the injury, the sum of injuries strikes again, or the curse strikes again, and hopefully nothing really comes from it. So yes, obviously let's talk about the main event, the match that kind of had to be, again, another one set up by injuries, seems to be a thing. The interim AEW World Championship match going against, what was it got? Jon Moxley going against Hiroshi Tanahashi for a match that, I guess, a match I didn't know I wanted, but then found out I actually really wanted it. It really turned out. So let's talk about this match. So yeah, so we're now at the main event, the last match on the show. Of course, we're talking about the interim AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yes, I got the name right. I seem to be terrible with names, and any mispronunciation of any Japanese names, I truly apologise. I'm terrible with names, and I apologise. But I know this one, Hiroshi Tanahashi, probably one, the ace. Obviously, going against Jon Moxley. Again, it's a match that was interesting because the problem with it is it's like there was no predictability in it, in a sense that you expected. Jon Moxley was the favourite because, again, AEW two-way champion. You're not expecting them to give it to a New Japan Pro Wrestler. I mean, they've done this before when Jericho went against Jericho. I think went for Jericho, I think, when he was AEW like a couple of years ago now. But there's no entirety. I think they will do it at some point, but I just don't think they would do it here. But this was very interesting because the match was the rest of the match were high-flying, high intensity, very, very high level in the sense of, like, fast pace and all that kind of stuff. But this one was like a very technical, slow kind of match that it's more technical masterclass and that kind of stuff instead of, like fast pace and kind of like this move. It's more of like, it felt like an old school match that I kind of like. But yeah, so it's a slow start. It started off with that. Was as you expect. You got Hiroshi Tanahashi did like a nice drop kick on the knees of Jon Moxley. You got Jon Moxley hitting a cutter out of nowhere. You're like, okay, that's not a thing he does. A nice little thing they put in commentary that I must point out. They did point out that match he had, his match he had with Kenta. That was a no disqualification match that had that massive spot from the top when he jumped through, done a splash from the top of the ladder onto that table. And they're not like classic tables. They're smaller tables in New Japan. It's very strange. I think they don't do it as much. But yeah, like I say, he hated it, so he doesn't like the brutality aspect of wrestling. He likes the more, click up business of wrestling. And yeah, I mean, obviously they showed that a little bit with Jon Moxley. He kind of like he done a slam through the table on the timekeeper's area and kind of took him out in that sense. But yeah, it was a weird one. It's very strange because it was kind of obvious he was going to win. But yeah, there are some moments when Hiroshi Tanahashi just like looked like he was gonna do it. We said the timekeeper's area. We got Jon Moxley hits the paradigm shift for a very near fall, and then Tanahashi hit a top rope. Was it top rope? Is a top rope finisher, or as I put it, as the fly flow splash for the top four, near 2 count You knew if he hit that and he didn't pay any points, he was going to win there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm talking like little bits of this match, but it was just technical. Like, it was just refreshing to watch. It's all the matches that are coming through with like high pressure, high intensity, that kind of stuff. This was just a nice. It was slowed down. It was more intense. It was more psychological. It was very. It was. Normally you think, well, why is this the main event? And I thought, yeah, now I get it, because it's nice to have a kind of main event when you might be a little bit exhausted for watching all that intense matchups, especially a lot of them for the night. It's nice to have a main event that kind of calms you down a little bit. It still has that cool moments, but it calms you down. And I liked it. Definitely enjoyed this match a lot. It was a good way to end the show, to be fair, because kind of sets up what AEW is. So AEW show in a way. So it makes sense that obviously Jon Moxley did win, obviously, and became the interim AEW World Champion. But anyway, yeah, so kind of how the match ended was the Hiroshi Tanahashi went top, hit the Fireflow splash for 2. Was it Jon Moxley kind of turned the momentum into the obviously Bulldog choke, the submission. Tanahashi came back and went for a pin attempt for 2. Then Moxley went for submission. Tanahashi pushed off the turnbuckle and then got for 2. Then Tanahashi with a slap to the face, and then Tanahashi bounced off the ropes and then hit a King Kong lariat that I've never seen her before, but my God, this is a great spot. I just remember this one. Great spot. He did that, and Tanahashi kicked out of one, just one. This huge lariat clothesline, and he kicked out of one. Brilliant. Love to. Hiroshi Tanahashi is one of the best out there. I mean, every time I watch him, just become more and more of a fan. I know he's one of the best, but I don't know much about him other than just a couple of matches I've seen. Some stuff in 2018, that kind of stuff. Obviously, when I think he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship from the leaving Kenny Omega. Remember that? It was a great match that was. So I saw much about him. But yeah, kind of, and then after that, he had the match with Moxley. Was shook by that. Moxley elbowed Tanahashi repeatedly with the thing that kind of, he probably got that from the Bryan Danielson thing where he kicks on the side and knees there, elbows there. The crowd booed him a little bit, didn't it's a very vicious form of Jon Moxley, but it's kind of why we love him in a way, because it's like he knows to blur the lines between heel and face. But just, yeah, and then obviously after that he attempts to, Moxley attempts to try and go for a win at a choke, but then they try and go ace, because they wanted him to win. Like, the fans really wanted Hiroshi Tanahashi to win it, and then Moxley let go of the choke. Like, I think he knew he wasn't going to submission, so then he kind of changed it up, hit the Death Rider paradigm shift. Death Rider is what they call New Japan, with the finisher, gets the win, and he is your interim AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley. But yeah, I mean, it's a good finish to the show. I enjoyed it. It's definitely not a match of the night, but it's a very high quality main event to finish it, and with no real surprise in the sense that Jon Moxley won, because it made sense. I mean, he's the perfect person to. It's interim, so that means it's a thing that's not really going to be remembered in a way, because no one's going to remember interim, and obviously he's already won it before, so it keeps the importance alive until obviously CM Punk comes back. We don't know when that is. The hope is he'll be back. With foot injuries, he should be back by full gear, and then he could have a unification match where he wins it back, and then and then we can maybe not have the summer of Punk, but we can have the winter of Punk or something like that. That's the hope anyway. But yeah, but it's kind of the ending, kind of the finish show. We didn't end with just him winning it. Obviously, we had a nice thing at the end with Moxley paying respect to Hiroshi Tanahashi, pointing him and wanting a handshake, but then Jericho and David Garcia came out and attacked them, and then, as you expect, claim a clusterfuck. Then, the rest of the then obviously Eddie some of the rest of the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society came down. Then obviously the teams from the Black Blue Combat Club came down. You know how this goes. And then obviously they bigged it up. It looks like obviously Chris Jericho's Appreciation Society on top, and then obviously Claudio Castagnoli came out, got the music, so it's like it's a big deal, and then came to the brawl, and he just basically clean house with running uppercuts. Winnie Regal, best shot you ever see is Winnie Regal walking down, and he's got that smirk yeah, I like this guy. I mean, I think I forget that they had an amazing match in NXT. I might have to watch back, because I think I've got the match somewhere. Watch back that match, but that was really good. So, but yeah, obviously winning the smirk, but yes, obviously, we with smirk, and obviously we did get a swing by Cassidy. Before we know Mr. Cesaro, we got the swing, feeling like 12. Fans loved it. He also treat, and then he got Castagnoli checking on Moxley. Moxley's happy to have him on board, but Kingston isn't. Obviously, they are really playing the idea that basically there's tension in the ranks, because obviously there's a feud that I'm sure it wouldn't surprise me if it's PWG or something like that, or something in the Europe, or someone like in Progress or something, a feud like that. Probably back in the day, but that's what I like about AEW. They still bring that up. That makes it feels like it's an actual thing. But so obviously had that, and then obviously we had Kingston yelling, and then at the end of the night we just had the Moxley celebrating with champion. Obviously they're in the faces in the ring. He was outside the ring. It makes sense. Main event setup that's probably going to be for a while is that this feud between the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society and obviously the Combat Club, Blackpool Combat Club, and Kingston and Santana Ortiz, that kind of stuff, is going to turn into the kind of main title feud. Makes sense. John Moxley's still quite over. Jericho, he hasn't had a shot at the title for a while now, so it would be nice to see if he goes after it. So that keeps the title scene alive for a while. So that'd be cool. So ends the show very well. And I mean, not more to say really. I mean, I guess we just got to go straight into my final thoughts of the whole show. And then let's wrap this up. So yes, this is my review of Forbidden Door. I mean, what a show it was. I mean, I said most of the matches were top notch, and one or two that were just the worst offense they had is they're just good. I mean, like a good matches there. I mean, I think the women's match was just what I thought they could have gave a bit of minutes. You would have thought of the show they could have probably wrapped it up a bit more. Like you've seen them do 4-hour shows, they could have gave them at least an extra 10 minutes, maybe. Surprisingly, not a lot of matches felt like they did. That match felt too short, but the rest of them were very well paced. I never felt exhausted watching the show. Because sometimes the problem with watching it is that so many matches, it's just, oh god, you got 20 minutes there, 20 minutes there. Sometimes I got this from watching G1 last year. Not the AEW, New Japan, I got the same thing. It's like it's hard to watch these matches where like a match that's not that good, 20 minutes, it's sometimes too much. But they timed a lot of the matches perfectly, so it felt like they paced it quite nicely, so I enjoyed it a lot. Obviously my favourite match of the match is Will Ospreay versus Owens Cassidy. Everyone's got candidates. The main event's probably a good shout. Fatal 4-Way probably is a good one for maybe into the Atlantis title or the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know, but I think Will Ospreay and Owens Cassidy is my match of the night. And I mean, if we're going to give it a ranking, I'm tempted to give it. I'm tempted to get a 9 out of 10. I mean, I don't want to say 10 out of 10 because obviously I think a 9 out of 10 is fair, because 9 times out of 10 they delivered in most of the stuff. So it's a great show. I mean, definitely best show AEW's put across this year. Don't know about New Japan, I don't know, but I think obviously this is the difference from. It felt like it was different when we done the Ring of Honor one. It felt like everyone was there for the New Japan stuff and not Ring of Honor. But because AEW's kind of like balanced it out, it's like everyone just looked good. Everyone looked good in this. Like I came out of this thinking, wow, I want to start watching New Japan again. So if it's like to help boost their credibility, it's worked in my opinion anyway. And obviously AEW is, I mean, they have their moments at the moment. They've been a bit shaky, like. They've gone a bit like, okay, the creativity's gone a bit, but then they've lost some big names. So I'm tempted to watch this with this shoot. I'm probably definitely going to watch Blood and Guts on tomorrow night, obviously prior to this recording. I'm saying that. So great show. So guess I'll wrap it up. Hope you've enjoyed my view of Forbidden Door. Obviously, if you want to make sure you check up or don't miss anything else from us, you can go on our Twitter at Josh and Stu Pod. You can email us if you want to know more about the Josh and Stu Wrestling Podcast. Josh and Stu Podcast at gmail.com. Yes, and obviously Instagram, the Josh Stu Wrestling Podcast on there as well. And make sure you like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. We want good numbers in the mind. So cool stuff. But end of the this is my review. I don't more to say. Hopefully we'll be back. Obviously I forgot that obviously this is one of those weeks where it's like, okay, You've got Forbidden Door here, then you've got, I think, Money in the Bank's next weekend. So that'd be an interesting one, because obviously I start a new job next week, so finding time to record that. I don't know when that'll be out, so watch out for that. Only way to make sure you don't is like and subscribe. But yeah, so more to say really. We'll obviously definitely will be back at some point for Money in the Bank. That should be interesting. Not sure who's going to win that. I haven't checked who's actually in the match, so especially with Cody being out, it's open-ended now, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So, yeah, no more to say. Have an awesome rest of the week. Always say definitely check out this show. It's really good. Really good. And, yeah, and I'll be back. Yeah, should be back sometime next week for my Money in the Bank review. So until then, have an awesome rest of the week. And I've been Stuart Irvine, and see you guys soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.